Welcome, ladies and gents, to another episode of Jay Does Sports. Happy Monday. Today we're going to go over Zach Wilson getting traded to the Broncos, as well as some new uniforms for him. NBA playoffs, first round was this past weekend. Go over some first reactions to that, as well as Matt Ryan retiring and some more news out of the NFL. But first, we're going to go over Scottie Scheffler finishing first in the RBC Heritage, as well as Nelly Korda extending her win streak in the LPGA to 5. So first off, Scottie Scheffler winning the RBC Heritage, massive for him. The fourth victory he's had in his past 5 starts. That one that he didn't win, he tied for second, which is insane, unprecedented, legendary little run for him. And right now, I don't think anybody else in the PGA is just playing to his caliber. He's just been doing so well. He's the only one in the field that, as long as he makes the cut to Saturday, I think he has a good chance of winning. And that could have been said for Tiger in the early 2000s as well. It's really, really something to watch. And I don't think that the other players in the PGA are quite up to what he has been putting out recently, and I don't want to put down what he's done. I think it's legendary. Like, really, it's not something that many have accomplished. But you got people like John Rahm, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka that are in LIV, Cam Smith. And because of that, he's not playing the top competition from around the world, you know? I don't want to put that as a damper on what he's put out, but I do think it's kind of a perfect storm for him, playing arguably the best golf of his career. LIV players, they're not giving him any competition, and also nobody in the PGA is able to give him competition either, and I think that's kind of making a perfect storm for him. Also, Nelly Korda for the LPGA has extended her winning streak to 5. The only 2 other people who have done that for the LPGA are Hall of Famers for them, some of the greatest to ever play in the LPGA, so surely she's going to be up there soon, and she's only, I believe, 25, so she has a lot of career left to extend her legacy, so great for her. Hopefully it extends the LPGA for them, makes it sort of like a Caitlin Clark situation. We'll see on that, though. PGA stuff isn't as explosive as basketball, but we'll see how that turns out. In the NFL, Zach Wilson has been traded to the Broncos for 1 cubic feet of mud and a Twix, or at least it seems that way. They're deciding to split his money that's due this year, the Jets and the Broncos, so he's owed $5.5 million. They're going to split that $2.75 million each. And then also the Jets will be receiving the Broncos' 6th and 7th round picks this year. I think the Broncos did need a quarterback, and I want to hope and pray that Zach Wilson got some guidance from Aaron Rodgers on the sidelines. It would have been better, I think, if he was able to actually see Aaron Rodgers work up close. But I don't think this past season could have hurt him. And I don't see a career for him extending with the Jets if he were to have stayed. So I think it's the best scenario for Zach Wilson for sure. The Broncos, we had a conversation about this last week on Friday, I believe. Sean Payton with quarterbacks in the new generation again, I don't know if it'll work. It seemed that Zach Wilson didn't like all the heat he was getting at New York, so I really don't necessarily think a good relationship with Sean Payton might occur. Now, hopefully, I'm wrong, but he's not, especially from the past couple of years, he hasn't been good to Russell Wilson, and that's Russell Wilson, you know. But hopefully things work out for them, and Zach Wilson can make some sort of a name for himself. Also with the Broncos, they announced their new uniforms today. which looked like they could have been designed for Doug Flutie's Maximum Football. They don't look great. I'll pull them up here for you. Really, I don't know. I mean, I guess on the side with the shoulder pads and whatnot, like it's supposed to sort of look like their old Bronco logo. All in all, I don't think they look great. I don't like them very much. Trying to go with the like modern kind of minimalist style with it, and it's like, come on, that's not what's going to make a good jersey in the NFL. I don't think they look good. However, they did have their alternate throwback uniforms come out today, which of course the old Broncos uniforms, John Elway, they look great. Obviously, it's just an iconic look for them. Also, Rashee Rice is looking into getting some sort of suspension for multi-game for what he did running away from that accident earlier in the month. I would expect him to get jail time. I would hope that they would get him in jail. Like that's a crime, but obviously the NFL can only do what they can do, which is suspend people. But I mean, that will take a hit for the Chiefs regardless. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if it progresses anything from that, but that's all the NFL can do. Also, the Falcons have been looking at the Falcons. The NFL has been looking at giving the Falcons some sort of penalty for contacting Kirk Cousins before they were allowed to, which they might lose picks that would actually go to Minnesota for them basically poaching on Kirk Cousins and offering him $400 million. Like, gosh, that's so much money. But yeah, so those two punishments might be coming out relatively soon. That's just the talk that's been going on. Also, Matt Ryan today announced his retirement. Great career for him, NFL MVP, just really good at putting up numbers. Never was able to win the Super Bowl, but him and Julio Jones back in the day, my lord, unstoppable. Congrats to him. Great career, like I said. However, as a Patriots fan, I am obligated to say 28-3. And finally, over the weekend, NBA playoffs, first little round, first set of games for them happened. But before we go into the actual games, I really just want to play y'all at least a tidbit of this clip and just talk about how much I appreciate it. So if you didn't notice, there's no announcers at all. There was some sort of technical difficulties with the broadcasting for that, and people loved it. I feel like it's more immersive for those who appreciate the game, at least. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that the NBA or ESPN or CBS or whoever hasn't announced that they're looking into making it like a package that you can pay for later on, because I imagine when they heard news that they can put out the same product and just cut the announcers and basically just sell the same thing with less effort and get money for it, like extra money. I'm surprised they don't just go like Scrooge McDuck, like dollar signs in the eyes, just, ooh, you know what I mean? Like, that's got to be so good for them. And I really wish people didn't bring it up because I don't know that it's going to be a cash grab at some point. I guarantee it. But yeah, that happened. And really, the biggest stories. It's first games of the playoffs. There's not much you can really dive into because not much is. You can't get too excited. It's one game out of 7, possibly 7. But all the favorites won. So if you bet that, good for you. Also, some notable things that happen. Anthony Edwards dropped 33. He is that man. I don't think anybody doubted that. He's scary good. And also, if you didn't watch the Thunder game, they were the closest one of the favorites to win. They only won by 2, I believe, like 94-92 to the Pelicans. So it was kind of shaky. Didn't really expect that from them, especially with Zion gone. But again, you can't read too much into anything because it's only the first game of all these series. With that being said, though, that's the end of this shorter episode of J Does Sports. Like, subscribe, comment what you'd like to see more news of, and I hope y'all have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.